Okay. I just got hit up by Peter Dunn. He said, do you want someone to bounce your ratings off of for LEC? So we got the EG head coach. Who's been the best jungler in Europe so far? This split? Inspired, I think.
Inspired, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty awful, to be honest. I think Trimmy's been pretty awful. I'm gonna go like, oh, this is gonna be rough. Here we go, boys. Oh, this is gonna... I put Promiscu at a 6. Hello?
Morning.
Man, what are you doing up at 5 a.m.?
I'm watching LPL like you.
Holy.
Why else would people be up at 5 a.m.?
Color.
What have you thought about LEC this year?
What are my thoughts about it?
This split so far? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's still like a very top-heavy league for the most part. I'm not sure if like the rookies are having the same impact that I thought. Like I heard a lot of good things about pretty much all of the rookies coming through. Like especially people like Trimby. I thought they were gonna come in and like be cheating on people. I heard a lot of things about El Yoya. And I don't know, it just wasn't as insane as I expected. I feel like the rookies that came in last year were better, to be honest. Yeah. So this is like kind of my mentality with the sheet is that players that I've seen a lot of, their ratings are going to change like less drastically over the course of like the sheet, and then new players that are coming in will probably bounce around more. So like there's players like Trimby who I'm going to be really, really low on immediately. Like I don't actually think that Trimby is like irredeemable garbage or something like that. I have a tough time after watching Rogue rating him like higher than a 70. You know, like he's going to be somebody who I think could be good, but I mean, he ran it down simply way too many times for me to go through with it.
But I mean, I assume you're going to update this list like
multiple
splits,
times.
right?
Yeah, multiple times. I'll probably do it like every couple weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks. I'm not sure. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that.
But actually, the question I wanted to ask you is, who do you think is the the best rookie top laner?
The best rookie top laner. I actually
out of this stuff.
Oh man, it's really hard. I think Armood has been a lot worse than I thought he would be. He makes so many questionable decisions. I think he's hurt his team a lot at certain times in the game, like that Wukong game versus Fnatic. I mean, Wukong is such a turbo pick there because there's no magic damage on the enemy team that's going to probably be using their abilities on you. I mean, obviously the Eve is going to be looking to one-shot somebody in the back line and flanking and things like that. So I feel like his pick is so good, and the way that he like dies randomly, like he gets solo killed by going for turret plates. He has his TP up. The enemy team is like deep chasing into his own jungle. He has a TP ward behind. He has ulti. Like Humanoid has ulti. It's easily turnable. He's still hitting turret for plate. I feel like his map play hasn't been that good, and then even his like laning was not that good. I remember his game into Bwipo, or no, it wasn't into Bwipo. I think his first match was into Wonder, right? His first match was into Wonder.
First match was into Wonder. Yeah.
And I mean, Wonder is obviously like a god. You know, I don't expect a rookie to outlane them, but I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. You know, like he really just got completely dicked in the Gragas Directed matchup. So for me, probably the biggest surprise has been Herit. I think Herit's actually pretty good. I know his last game wasn't the best, but I feel like overall he plays like a level of confidence that like I can see like the way that he's like analyzing the game, and I feel like he in general has been a pretty big asset for Misfits
season. But actually, I agree with you. I mean, I think that Armut is a good player, but it's going to take him time, and he's going to look much worse than maybe people will expect at the start.
So I guess the place where I'm starting with the ratings is like, so I think IWDominate's been okay. Like I think he's been pretty much performing at that 88 level. I'm not gonna move Bwipo down. I feel like Bwipo couldn't really move up based off his games because like once you're at the 90 tier for me, like you need to play really well to start improving from there. But I'm not gonna move him down either. I think that in the wins he's looked pretty good, and I thought his Pantheon was also like pretty decent as well. So who do I think right now has been performing the worst out of top laners in LEC?
I mean, Agresivo is never going to play LEC.
Yeah,
like there's just no chance.
Okay, all right. So I mean, oh man, I actually don't. So the thing is, I like White Knight as a player. I think he's like decently. He's a decent player, and I think he's pretty smart about the game normally. That last game that he just played triggered me so hard, the Gragas game, because I felt like he was not able to identify a different way to play the fight. He looked so like I don't even know. Like it was such a like what's the best way to say this? it was like he only looked at the game from one point of view, right? Like he's like, oh, I'm playing Gragas, I E flash ulti. That's what I do. Yep. Instead of being like, okay, what are other ways I can use my champion? How should we actually play out these team fights? Like I have a Lulu Aphelios on my team. Is there a different way for me to accomplish like a goal of winning the team fight by splitting like the front and the back line up? Can I just ulti the back line back? Like I feel like not enough Gragas players that play Gragas top right now play with that mindset. Like they're not able to identify, hey, in this situation, I don't actually need to like E flash ulti the back line into us. I can just separate the front line from the back line and boom, we just win the fight based off that. So
that's fair.
It was a very like one-dimensional approach. I guess I'll probably have to rate him the lowest here. But I don't think he's bad. I don't think I'm gonna rate him as low as potentially like Jezu or Promiscu. I think Promiscu I'm gonna be pretty harsh on. So I'll probably go like 74 for White Knight.
How are you going to judge Kreis? Because Kreis, have you seen what Kreis has played this split?
Yeah, I mean, so it's hard to judge Kreis because those champions just don't feel like Kreis champions, right? Like when you think of Kreis, you don't think of like Lulu, Ivor, and like he's not that type of top laner. I feel like that'd be more like White Knight. That would be his style more than Kreis. I feel like Kreis is like some guy I want to see playing Camille and Jax and Aurelia and champions like this. Actually, maybe I'm gonna have to move White Knight down because there's gonna be all these players are gonna be fitting into the same tier. So second worst, I would say Armut right now has not been performing great. I'd probably put him at like a 74, 73. Even lower than Kreis. Gen X maybe comes down slightly for me to 76. And where does Herit place in now? So like Herit is maybe an 80 or an 81 to me.
Yeah, that's fair. So I mean, are you gonna put Sigenda in the same tier as him in Broken Blade?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna. So I'm thinking like Herit 80, Sigenda maybe 79, 78.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the thing is, this is where it gets hard, right? I think that if you look just in pure isolation of like the games, and you say every game is equally as valuable because it's the regular season, I think Herit has probably played better than Broken Blade. But do I think that Herit's like a better player than Broken Blade? I feel like Broken Blade had really, really bad losses. But I still feel like his wins were valuable. Like, I mean, the game versus G2 was an absolute pop-off versus Wonder, the best top laner in the league, and he solo kills Wonder in that game as well. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, well, that game is equal to, one of the games where Herit played well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Broken Blade, obviously, is he's still adapting back to EU, right? Like, to me, Broken Blade's pretty disappointing, actually. I think he'll get better later, but he's picked up a lot of really bad habits in North America. Mm-hmm. Like he's a worse player now than he was when he went to North America.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just like, for me, it's really annoying because generally his laning has been pretty good, but he makes the same mistakes over and over again. Like there was that Camille game that we got to see him play where he just tries to get on the flank, walks into the enemy team with no vision, 1v5, dies, and like the whole game goes to shit because of it. And it's an exact same situation as the TSM versus Fnatic game at Worlds where Selfmade walked in and like 1v5 stole the dragon. Like he's just walking in from the side and gets one shot over and over again. So it's so hard to say because like when he pops off like super hard. Like there'll be times where, like in that last game, right? Wonder's playing at a 93, he's playing at like a 95, but then he's also randomly playing at like a 65 too. So how do you rate a player like that?
Yeah, I mean that's a problem, right? The thing is that he has. So when he went to North America, there were lots of European teams chasing him, and he had a bit more self-discipline. Like I don't really know how to describe it. He had these insane mechanical peaks, but there was always something that would like kind of stop him from overcommitting in these kind of situations. I don't really know how to describe it, but he's one of those players like Humanoid that just wants to go in all the time. But he had kind of a circuit breaker, but he's lost that in the last 2 years. So I don't know how to rate him because I think the guy's obviously mechanically gifted, right? But he's just not using his brain.
So I'm thinking BB82 for me, Herit 81, Sagenda 79, Genax 76, Cry 75, Armut 74, White Knight 72. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, okay, I guess the next thing is jungle.
Self-made. Okay, so I love self-made, but self-made has not been.
Yeah, he's not been performing as a 94. It sucks.
I mean, he is he like we all know he's going to play as a 94 one day. But like, what do you think his level has been so far?
I mean, there's no way he's played better than Inspired, right? Like, so far, I mean, his level would probably be like 88, 87, something like that. Maybe even lower. I mean, honestly, if you were to take everything away from your brain in terms of like how good this player was, and you just went purely off the split, you probably have him at like mid 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's been a similar level to Gilius so far this season, but obviously he's going to be better later. Like, obviously,
yeah,
there's just no question.
But I feel like he's in that tier where I've seen him a lot, so I feel like he's not going to move around as much for me on this sheet as somebody like, Armut. Let's say Armut just smurfs the next like 4 weeks. I could move him up like 8 points or something. He could be mid 80s. He could be higher than Broken Blade even. Like, he can move up like 10 points to me. Whereas like, even if BB smurfs as hard as Armut is smurfing, I'm not moving BB into like Blippo Tear immediately. Like, it'd be like, okay, well, now you're like an 86 or something. So
that's fair.
So for me, I mean, I guess I'll dock self-made 1 point. I actually think Jankos hasn't been playing super well either. There's a lot of games where he's looked good, and people were like, I saw a lot of people being really excited about his KDA, but there was a lot of games where, I mean, there was the one versus XL, I believe, when Dan was playing Udyr and he was playing Graves and he missed path and he was just down like 20 CS off nothing. Then he randomly gets some kills and he's back in the game. That to me has not been like, super impressive. Like, I feel like Jankos is obviously a really good player. The Olaf game was good for the most part, even though he ran it down a couple times towards the end. But I don't know. It hasn't been all there for me.
So who's the best jungler in Europe then?
Who's been the best jungler in Europe so far? This split? Inspired, I think.
Inspired, yeah, exactly. And like, it's worth saying that guy's really, really young. He's not 20 yet. I think he's still 19.
Yeah, he's insane.
He improves every split he just gets better.
Yeah, it's true. I actually think Zanzaro hasn't been bad, but he wouldn't be the best out of these four. I mean, I guess Tinks would probably still be the best. I haven't been that impressed with Elyoya.
Well, what did you find particularly bad about Elyoya?
I feel like he's kind of one-dimensional, and he doesn't really do a lot around the map. Like, he's been fine when the lanes are winning, but I just don't see him making like active plays, or like for example, his Ivern game, I guess he did the right things, but I feel like there are plays that he just opts away from, so he seems kind of passive in that respect. I thought his Talia was relatively bad as well. He was playing Talia into Eve, and he had a decent lead early, but I feel like he lost control of the matchup by making like rookie mistakes, right? Like, you're playing Talia into Eve. You see Eve just showed up on a ward topside. You clear the ward, and then you walk directly into River and get one shot. And those types of mistakes in matchups that are really volatile, right, like that, just instantly put you behind for the rest of the game. And then you have to first item Zanya's, and it feels like if his teammates weren't that good, he would be exposed a lot harder.
That's fair. But the thing I will say about Elyoya is he's generally more stable than somebody like Tinks or somebody like I was going to say Zlatan, but obviously Zlatan is not in
everyone tells me about this guy. He plays in Polish League, right?
Polish League. But he played Polish League last year. Who did he play? Is he playing in France this year? I think maybe in France this year. But like, he's super, super unstable. Like, he looks like a god some games and not the other. Yeah, he's on Misfits.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to value Tinks, because also the other thing you have to consider is like a lot of the times it feels like he's picking almost to look good. Like, the Mundo game might not be the most useful pick, but it looks good if you obviously like get that quadra kill to like optically it looks like you did well and the rest of the team let you down. I didn't think the early Hecarim games were really great picks for it. Hey, what's up? I guess it came back.
Yeah, just came back. Oh, I was literally just up to sleep. Okay, let's do this.
We're on jungle right now. So the jungle that I think has probably performed the best is Tinks. And I feel like his style. So I think what we were talking about was what do I prefer more? The like carry jungle 1v9 playstyle, or like the team oriented, always make the right play at the right time. Generally, like if you're on a good team, like if you're on Mad Lions, I would prefer Elyoya's playstyle. If you're on SK, I would definitely prefer Tinks' playstyle. So I feel like they're both in places that make sense for them. Because if Tinks was on, well, I guess I should say the other way first. If Elyoya was on Mad Lions, or if Elyoya was on SK, then Elyoya would probably not be able to carry a lot of these games. And yeah, I think SK would probably be like 1-4, 0-5, something like that. Whereas if Tinks was on Mad Lions, maybe he loses them a game that they should have won because he's not able to come back. So
sure, that's fair.
I mean, so I guess I'll start here. I think that I should probably move Gilius up slightly from 83 based off his performances recently. Because
it's amazing, no?
Yeah.
He keeps getting better every year.
Yeah, he's actually playing well. So like I would definitely put him as the fourth jungler, like solidified under Self-Made Yanko's Inspired. I mean, he's probably playing better than Self-Made Yanko's right now, but we're doing we're not doing form rating. So I'm gonna move him to an 85. I think that's solid. Maybe even actually, you know what? I like Gilius. I'll put him at an 86. It's not actually because I like him, but I do think that he's been performing pretty well, and I want there to be more of like a gap between him and the next performing players, because I don't think that I'm gonna play. I think the next group will be low 80s. So let me actually adjust the players that I have been watching. So I'm gonna move Razor down to like a 76, 77. I feel like he's been having a rough split. He hasn't looked good in most of the games, and I feel like he's been solo-inting a couple of them as well. So let's move Razor down to 76.
Who do you think has looked good? Besides, it's just Gilius and Inspired that have looked good, right?
That I think have been looking good every game. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so I mean, let's see. Like if I'm going to do like a mini tier list, I would probably go Tinks, then Elyoya, then Dan, then Zanzara.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair, but obviously, like this is the one that's really, really hard, right? Because the jungle, it's hard to tell how good the new junglers are because the existing junglers have all been so unstable this split. Mm-hmm. So it's really, really hard to judge, right? It is smashing Self-Made good? I mean, yes, it's good, right? But is that because Self-Made's running it down, or is it because you're outpathing him, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Self-Made's still like. Even though he played poorly in the Eve game, like in terms of later on, like how he was able to use the champion, I did think that he played better than Elyoya throughout the game. I felt like Elyoya was a huge liability in that one.
That's right. I mean, to be clear, like Self-Made will be top 3 by the end of the split. Like, there's no question. But,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tinks is gonna be the one I rate the highest here. I'm gonna do the drop off. Let's just do 82 right now. I think that that's like a decent representation visually of like how I think the junglers will end up / how they're playing right now. I'm going to go for 80 on Elyoya. I mean, I could just go 2 on every single one. I think that Tinks 82, Elyoya 80, Dan 78, and Zanzara 76 looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, but those guys, like, those ratings will definitely change in like a couple of weeks. If you update this.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, mid laners.
Are you VTO Zoe versus VTO non-Zoe?
Yeah, I mean, Vito should have 2 different ranks, right? Video Zoe, video non-Zoe. Holy. I mean, it's so hard to rate him.
He got Zoe against, I'm just quickly checking. Oh, Madlands and
Fnatic.
Okay. None of the other teams are going to be dumb enough to give him. GT will give it to him, but I don't think any of the other teams are going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I actually didn't even think his second Zoe game, the one versus Mad Lions, I don't even think he played like super, super well in that game early, but I mean, later on, he was able to do stuff.
Mid to late, like his angles on his bubbles and things like that, are all insane.
Yeah, they're all insane.
Yeah, fine.
All right, so let me just look at the ratings. If I would move anyone up, I mean, I guess I would move like Larson up maybe a point. I feel like Larson's been probably performing better than 92 so far. I'm actually going to move Niski up. I think Niski's played pretty well so far.
Yes, yeah. Niski's by far the best player on Fnatic so far this year.
Yeah. So how far do I want to go is the question. It's like 86 or 87.
I mean, if it's a form rating, it's 87, 88, but that probably means 86, right? Because he's a veteran, no?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 87. I'm gonna split the difference.
Okay, that's fair.
Check out Abadog. So, this is where it gets interesting. I don't know if I want to move Melitza down or not.
So, what are you valuing in your mid laners? Are you valuing mid game or are you valuing laning phase higher? Because that makes a difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I generally just value laning phase higher. But then there's players like Caps where like even if Caps like isn't the best laner all the time, just his map play makes up for it tenfold. So maybe I think I value lane higher, but I actually value mid game higher.
Well, I
Interesting.
mean, if you value lane higher, then Chocolate gets a lower rating than if you value mid game higher, right?
Well, I also feel like the champions that he's been picking should theoretically be better in lane than how he's made them look.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna like to be clear. I love Chocolate. Like, I was the one who insisted that he joined Splice, but like his laning phase is not as strong as play. So in that case, if you're rating laning phase really high, then he doesn't go for Melita. But I think he's played better than Melita overall, but
Yep.
definitely not in the first 50 minutes.
I mean, do I want to put him higher than Abadage, or do I want to move Abadage slightly up? That's the question. I mean, I guess Abadage has had some weak performances too. The other thing I'm trying to think about is like the low end, like how, because I feel like how low I rate Nuke Duck is going to determine the range. But the thing about this is I actually think that Nuke Duck hasn't been playing that terribly so far yet. I think the Lucian game wasn't the best, but I feel like he's been okay. He's probably been the best player on his team.
Sure, but I mean, he's just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Even in the games where he's playing something that should bully, he's just sitting in lane. He's not even roaming properly. And when he does roam, he just roams for no reason at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been rough for Nuke Duck.
Yeah, it's 71 for me. I think I'm going for like blue 74, maybe 73.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Melitza I might move down. I'm gonna move Melitza down to 79 for now because I think it'll make more sense when I start
And I
check.
mean, VTO high for now or VTO
Yeah,
low for now?
high for now or like decent for now. Maybe 83.
That's high. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's high. I'm like what I'm considering now is moving Abadage up to like
Oh,
83,
okay.
84.
That's fair. That's fair. Like, and then move Avadage to 84. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So ADC. Man, I think Hansama has actually been performing super well.
I, I mean,
He's been
Reckless
so good.
was bad. Reckless has had a bad game this season, and Hansama hasn't had a bad game. He surprised. Actually, he surprised me a lot. Like, I expected him to not be as good as this, especially
Yeah.
because he's had to play with Trimby, no?
Yeah, and Trimmy's been running it. He's been running it, man. It's so crazy. Okay, let's go
Yeah,
93 and 90,
yeah. I think that's very fair.
95.
What did you rate Reckless last year?
I had him at well, this was like after Worlds performance, and I factored that in.
Yeah.
I had him 96.
Okay.
I thought at Worlds he was the best. I thought he was the best AD carry at Worlds last year, which is a lot of praise. But
yeah, it was either him or Juanfeng, but it's not outrageous to say that.
I feel like Patrick never really looks bad, but it's hard for me to say that Patrick is a better player than kha'zix. Like for me, that doesn't resonate that well, even though that's what I had before. Maybe I was influenced in these ratings.
I mean, it's worth saying that Kazi was playing weak side in summer.
Yep.
So he's gonna look worse than Patrick and Crownshot, who were both playing strong side.
Yeah.
But now he's playing strong side, right? Because they brought in Armut and Illyria to do the weak side job.
And then again, he kind of got he was pretty far behind in the Fnatic game. I'm definitely gonna move him up though. I'm gonna move him to like 85 at least. Let's see. Patrick, maybe I'll go down to 87. Set comp Kabi.
How do you feel about because Kobe has played well? No?
Yeah, he has. Well, he also had like some really egregious errors too. Like
Sure.
like the standard, getting killed in lane when your support's going to ward. Like those like solo queue mistakes he's had as well.
I mean, he's better than Neon, no?
So far, I guess. I think Neon's actually not bad though. I think Neon's pretty good. He's someone who I personally rate higher than most people, I think.
I mean, like all of those 8 are like all pretty good actually.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about European AD carries. This last split, all of the European AD carries outside of maybe Perks in summer split were all like pretty good. I mean, to me, AD carry was the most stacked role where there wasn't like whoever you wanted to rate the lowest last year. If it was Kabi, if it was Comp, like these are still good players.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
So,
but by that token, none of those guys should be below like Melitza, right? So
sure. But now we have players that I think are like in that 70 tier. Like I can't say that Jezu or Jessica is.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think that's fair. I
think Jessica's the worst so far. But then he also has to lane with Promise Q, so that's like.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I put them both at around the same level, but I think that Kobe is combo is more than an 80. If like Chocolad's an 81, combo is like an 80. Yeah, maybe. I mean, because there's been a gap, right? Like in all of the other positions you mentioned so far.
Yeah.
So leave jungle aside, because jungle is impossible to tell when people are this inconsistent. Like with the mid laners and with the top laners, there's a clear gap. Whereas with the AD carries, in my opinion, there hasn't been a clear gap. For the top 8, right? And then 9 and 10 is...
Yeah, 9 and 10 is like mid-70s to me. Maybe even lower.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think comp is legitimately good. It feels bad rating comp like 84, 85 because, I mean, he's pretty pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think comp has been Vitality's best player, no?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Maybe I need to move Neon down, honestly.
Yeah,
the other thing is like Patrick.
Neon. If you put Kha'Zix Neon comp at this, if you all put Kha'Zix Neon comp at like 86, that's pretty fair for what you've been saying, right?
But then the thing is like, can I say Patrick is an 87 then? Because like I don't think that Patrick has been playing better than Kha'Zix Neon yet. I mean, he's had like good games and okay games.
So, take the coward's way out and put everyone on 86.
I'm actually gonna put. I think I'm gonna switch this up. Actually, I think I'm putting Kha'Zix at 87 and Patrick at 86. I think Jesu's been better than Jeskla. I'm gonna go like Jesu 77. I'm gonna go Jeskla 70. 74, 73.
Who else is on 74? Yeah, that's about fair. Although it's going to be interesting where SK are going to be after you do all of this, because it looks like SK are going to have really low rating.
I mean, Jesu's 77. I can't say that Jesu's been... So the problem is, like, now I'm looking at teams, and can I really say that Jesu's been better than JetX?
No, for sure not. Yeah, so then he probably needs to go down 1, right? Or 2.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of thing is all, like, fine-tuning semantics, but yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, I think most of these ratings are pretty good. It's just about where you rank them in their teams.
I'm putting him at 75 for now. Might even revise it. Go worse. Okay. So... Oh, man.
What's your Hillsong rating?
Yeah, the Hillsong rating. But the thing is, like, man, it's just like this. There's 2 different Hillies, right? Like, there's playoffs, Worlds Hilly, and then there's, like, early regular season split Hilly where he always fucking runs it.
Your chat is asking you about Upset.
Oh, I mean, Upset would have to go down. He would actually have to go down. I didn't even look at his rating. I mean, he's played... I mean, I definitely can say that Upset has played worse than I expected so far in Fnatic. Like, even though he hasn't been bad, like, he's probably been one of the better players that they've had, I still thought he would play better than this. So I'm going to go down to 88 for him. And now I think that actually looks better when you compare that to, like, Hansama, because I feel like now you're starting to see, like, the Hansama, like, greatness. Yeah, like, I really think he's been, like, fantastic this split.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. Like, and the fact that you have Hans at the same rating as Larson, I think is good. Because you know, Larson has always been the card carrier of this team, but Hans has been at that level for sure this year.
Because I didn't know if I was going to be like redoing these all the time, or if I was going to be doing them with veteran. So I don't even have the average box as like the actual calculation. So I'll do that off. So I mean, Denick, I guess we can get it. Well, Denick is still sub, right? He's still there, sub for Misfits.
I mean, he's like,
but he's never going to play.
I'm not going to get the chance to play.
He's never going to get the chance to play. I'll leave that for right now. Looking at everyone else. I mean, I have to move Hilly down. I guess I'll move Kaiser up. I mean, Kaiser's been really good so far. I'm putting him at a 91. I'll put him higher for right now.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the form rating is factoring in pretty heavily here. But I feel like Kaiser's been pretty exceptional as a support so far this split. Okay, Lebrov, I actually value highly. Vander maybe drops a point for me. Torre. I mean, he ran it down early, and then he had a couple good games, I guess, this week. I'm definitely going to put him lower, though.
I mean, the thing is that he's getting a lot to cover for him in the mid game because of all the champions that Kryze is playing, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to. So he has complete freedom to do. He doesn't have to play his own control role. He can do whatever he wants in the mid game.
I'm moving Trees. Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm gonna dock Torre. Torre, I moved down to 76. Treats, I'll put at 78. I think.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually pretty good.
Now Trimby. Oh man, I mean, I can't put Trimby higher than a 70 for me. Like he's
Holy
well. This is the thing. Is like I'm gonna put This is the one that's gonna hurt.
Okay, is Pominski going to be low? Okay, because you're putting Trimby as like the worst player in the league right now. So
yeah, I think he's been pretty awful, to be honest. I think Trimby's been pretty awful. I'm gonna go like, oh, this is gonna be rough. Here we go, boys. Oh, this is gonna. I put Promiscu at a 64.
What's your lowest player on your NA sheet?
66, but he's gonna go up. I had that for Iconic, who I think has actually been playing pretty well, so he's gonna go way up.
Iconic has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
64.
Okay. Nice.
And Trimby's a 70 to me.
I mean, I think that's. I mean, the thing about Trimby is he has literally every single one of his teammates is top 2. Oh no, Odo's third, right?
Odo's third for me, yeah. But I'd say Odo's probably been performing better than Bwipo holistically this split.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone else on his team is a top 2 or even top 1. Like you can make an argument that Hans Hammer has been better than Reckless so far in the first 5 games.
Yeah.
But like you will get a message from somebody in Rogue, Fly, or I don't know who you talk to in Rogue, complaining to you about this later. Just wait.
Maybe Fly. I mean, the thing is, like, it's not that I even dislike Trimby. Like, it's like the jury's still out on Trimby. But just realistically, how many games has he entered so far? Like didn't he play? He played Am I getting players? There was a game where he played Seraphine. He absolutely ran it, right? And then there was the set game, which was terrible.
There are games where he's been worse than Torre. Like
the Rel game.
Torre will look much worse because his team will cover for him, right? Like the fact that whenever Torre plays badly, like XL just because they don't have any tools to like play better, right? So Trimby, a lot of Trimby's mistakes have been covered by his teammates. So
yeah, now we have to go back and look at like compare the teams to each other. I mean, it's like Rogue G2 would be top tier. Then I guess the next tier for me would probably be Fnatic Mad. And then I guess and then it'd be Schalke alone. And then I guess you're into the tier of like the 2 and 3s. I think it's really hard for me to rate Misfits, right? Because I feel like Misfits might just nosedive if they just keep on not getting Zoe. Like if Vedio is not 1v9ing, who's going to be the player that's going to step up? Like I think Hirid is pretty good. I think Kabi could potentially be good, but like I mean, when we've seen these games where like you think that they should win, I mean, I feel like they're more like I don't know, they're more like Vitality SK tier. I mean, the worst team is going to be Astralis still, I guess. Astralis.
The interesting thing with Misfits is going to be if this is a team like this and they want to make playoffs, then Zlatan is going to play, right, in spring. Because you want somebody who's high variance in a team like that doesn't have anybody that can win the game for you. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder how Zlatan would do in LEC.
I don't know anything about him. Everyone's been hyping him up to me.
Okay. But I mean, this is kind of because from what you've described in these ratings, like it sounds to me that you think, obviously Astralis are the worst, right? But SK and like Vitality are higher than SK and XL from what you've said in the ratings, right? Is that kind of what you think?
Yeah, but I'm like thinking I don't even know if that's fair. Well, I mean, I guess. That's actually a really hard question. That's such a hard question, isn't it?
Because I can kind of see what Vitality want to do, but they always mess it up.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with Vitality. Like I feel that there's potential in that team, and their bot lane. I think Vitality bot lane is actually really insane.
Yes,
like,
I think their bot lane is really good. That's why it's hard, right? Because Vitality, you'd say, I guess Vitality is worse than SK, but then when you start thinking about Vitality versus SK, I mean, their bot lane should have advantage, right? Like Comp Lebrov is going to be better than Jesu treats a lot of the time in my mind. But then it comes down to like mid lane, and then even mid lane there, right? Like I think Melissa is a better player than Blue. Top lane or jungle, okay. Now we're starting to get like now we're starting to get into like the tough part because I mean I guess I would just think that Vitality is better than SK because Segenda I would rate higher than kha'zix.
Yeah. I mean I agree with you. I mean when I look at the LEC table, like I think Fnatic and Vitality are below where they kind of deserve to be. Well, okay, no, Fnatic are where they deserve to be, but they will be better. But I feel like Vitality, when they stop throwing games, are actually going to be pretty good. Although their game against Schalke was really bad. Yeah. Like both of those teams were just throwing the game back to each other. But I actually agree with you on that. Like that's the reason why I'm asking that question because I actually think Vitality are
Yeah, they're like a
Oof,
sixth, seventh best team then, right? Like based on what we just
exactly.
said.
Yep.
Holy shit!
And
So Vitality would be Misfits tier. No, that actually makes sense to me though. I completely agree with what you said. It's just hard. That's why I like having having people like you here. Is like you ask me the questions that that actually make me think, because now when I'm really trying to like analyze the league, I think the Vitality is Misfits tier, right? Like it's Schalke and then Vitality Misfits, and then like the bottom three, which is going to be like SK and then XL and then Astralis. Interesting.
But actually, now there's an interesting question on the Vitality Misfits tier, which is, if Misfits don't have Zoe, are Vitality better than Misfits?
If Misfits don't have Zoe, is Vitality better than Misfits?
Yeah, because that's really hard, right? Because then Vitality, like you're saying, a 1-4 team are a playoff team.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is like bot lane, I guess they match up better into Vitality than other teams do, because normally when I'm looking at I look at Vitality's bot lane and you compare that to the other bot lanes. I think I said kha'zix instead of Gen X for SK. So, but I still think Sagenda is better than Gen X. So the point is pretty much the same. Gen X and kha'zix I think are the same tier of player. But when I think about that, right, and I think about Comp Labrov, and then I compare them to Jesu Treats, I think they're much better. Jeskla Promiscu, much better. When I compare them to Patrick Torre, I feel like as a bot lane, Comp and Labrov are better than Patrick Torre. I think that Patrick is good in like team fights and late game fights.
Exactly.
So,
but that's an interesting question, because to me, I actually, when you phrase it like that, okay, maybe saying Vitality as sixth is maybe too much right now. But I actually think Vitality can make playoffs this split. Oh, even though they started 1-4, like actually they've shown a lot of good stuff. But maybe they can't beat Misfits.
You're blowing my mind, man. Blowing my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think that without Zoe, I could easily see Vitality beating sixth place team, even though they're dead last in the standings. Well, not dead last, they're tied with Astralis, but yeah.
Actually, I'm just having a look. Who do Vitality play next week? Holy shit. They haven't even had...
Who do they play next
Vitality week? So they could be 1-6. To be clear, I actually agree with your logic. Like, I didn't come in like with this pre-bias.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've seen, they look good. But they're 1-4 right now, and they could easily be 1-6.
They are going to be 1-6. They play G2 Mad. Wait, what have their games been so far? They lost to Fnatic, okay.
No, but they shouldn't have lost to Fnatic.
Yeah, okay.
Like, the game against Fnatic, they should have lost. They shouldn't have lost to Schalke, but they did.
Mm-hmm. Wait, they already played Mad Lions once? Am I right here?
Vitality haven't played.
Oh, no, Vitality haven't played Mad Lions. They lost. Holy shit, Vitality lost to Astralis. I forgot about that.
Holy moly. Okay, forget it. Burn everything I said to the ground.
And they beat Misfits. Oh, they did beat Misfits. So they beat Misfits, lost to Astralis. Who did they play the first day? They played Schalke and lost. So they still have games against XL and SK, though. So next week is really hard, but the week after is not as hard.
That's fair. But just going through the games, like the game against Schalke was like the worst. Like that was just,
yeah.
Holy moly, that was a bad game. Then they beat Misfits because they banned Zoe. Then they lost to Astralis.
Oh, that was the game. Really oh my god, I just realized what game that was. That was the game where fucking our boy Melitza Omega griefed the ending.
Oh yes. Holy shit. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm showing it to my chat. This is probably the worst thing you'll ever see.
They have so much talent. Oh, it's really good.
I mean, but that's just a win. Team. That's literally just a win if you just hit the Nexus, man. It's so crazy.